Oh, so here I am again. Random live. I'm totally sick and tired of these channel wars. Yesterday was just, sorry for the long pauses. Quiet probably because I'm not sure where to start, what to say, where to finish. Yesterday was just beyond contempt. You know, sometimes in life we want to unsee what we've seen, but we can't. There's no magic eraser for our brain to remove the visions in our head, because I think what I heard, it just... And I don't know how that's accepted as normal, and I don't know why people on YouTube think it's okay to be so graphically violent about children who have no idea what their parents are up to on YouTube. Honestly, I am sort of struggling to articulate. One, because it's so late. Two, because I'm tired. Three, because I'm totally fed up of how low people have stooped. And it's... yeah, I am going to struggle. And as usual, I'm going to ramble. But so it's okay. We can all disagree about certain people. Hello, Sudhir Babu. You might have to forgive me, guys. I might not be able to read your comments because I haven't got my reading glasses on. Hi, Manu. कैसे है मन्नू? किद्दां ठीक है? पंजाबी च बोलूंगी. Sudhir, you are hiding your face. ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਫੇਸ ਦਾ ਅਚਾਰ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਆ? ਦੌੜ ਇੱਥੋਂ. ਅੱਛਾ, ਮन्नू ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਗਏ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਬੋਲੂੰਗੀ. ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਚ. ਸੋ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਯੂਟਿਊਬਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਗਰੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਾ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਾਇਦੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਉਹ ਵਿਦਿਨ ਲਿਮਿਟਸ ਵੀ ਅਬਜੈਕਟ. ਬਟ ਉਹ ਅਬਜੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੰਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਗੰਦੀਆਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ, ਟ੍ਰੋਲਿੰਗ ਕਰਨੀ, ਫਿਰ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦੀ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਿੱਚੋ. ਬਟ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਜੋ ਹੋਇਆ, I think it's the lowest I've seen people stoop on YouTube. And ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਮੂੰਹ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਕੇ ਡਿਫੈਂਡ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ. ਸਮਝ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ. ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਡਿਫੈਂਸ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਡਿਫੈਂਡ ਕਰਨ ਆ ਗਏ ਬੇਸ਼ਰਮਾਂ ਆਂਗਰ. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਗਲਤੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮਤਲਬ that's out and out ਗੁਨਾਹ, ਪਾਪ. ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਗੰਦਾ ਕਰਨਾ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਣੀਆਂ। ਹਾਂ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਬਣਦਾ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਦੈਨ ਯੂ ਐਂਡ ਅਪ ਅਪੋਜ਼ਿੰਗ ਈਚ ਅਦਰ, ਫਿਰ ਬੋਲੋ, ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਫਿਰ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਇਹ ਕਰਨੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਬੋਲਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ। ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਡਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਲੋਕ। ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਡਰਦੀ। ਅਬੇ ਪਹਿਲੋਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਬਲੌਕ ਕਰਾਂ। ਸ਼ਰਮ ਫੇਸ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਫੇਸ ਦਾ ਚੱਲ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤਾ। ਮਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਦੱਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ? ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਾਂ ਮੰਡੇ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ? ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਮੰਡੇ ਮੋਰਨਿੰਗ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ। ਕੀ ਪਕਾਇਆ, ਕੀ ਖਿਲਾਇਆ? ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਆ ਗਈ। ਪਹਿਲੋਂ ਸੋਚਦੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਬੰਦੂਕੀ ਤੇ ਹੱਸ ਕੱਸਾਂ, but actually she's not worth my time or energy. I'm done with her. ਲੱਪੂ ਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਹੱਥ ਕੱਸੂਗੀ। and ਮਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ, you'll understand, ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਜ਼ਹਬ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੋਕ ਸਕਦੀ I should say. ਤਾਂ पर मैं ये भी कहूँगी कि जिसने भी जो भी है, अगर अब नहीं सुनोगे तो फिर बाद में सुन लेना, क्योंकि मैं ये लाइव रहने दूँगी। जिसने भी वो वीडियो लगाया है ना रिकॉर्ड करके, वो भी आप उतार दो, बिकॉज long term implications of such videos है ना, far reaching consequences। मुझे इस कंट्री का तो पता है कि यहाँ तो within 24 hours people like that they will be remanded in custody। इंडिया का सिस्टम मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन it was a horrific act, a violent act, a sexually explicit act, graphic, disturbing, triggering। अब क्या ही बोलूँ मैं, कितना बोलूँ? कल से दिमाग का दही हुआ पड़ा है। पर ठीक है, लोगों ने जिन्नी को उन्होंने समझा। but I'll still say ये जो चैनल वोज आ ना, ਇੰਨੇ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਗਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ or disagrees with your point of view or supports a different group or doesn't support the people that you support, ਬਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਓ। You know, ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢੀਆਂ, of course ਮੈਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢੀਆਂ, ਮੈਂ ਬੰਦੂਕੀ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢੀਆਂ ਸੀ, but she brought it on herself। ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ। ਮੈਂ ਰਾਤੀ ਸੌਂ ਕੇ ਸੁੱਤੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਬਸ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਟ੍ਰਿਗਰ ਹੋ ਗਈ, it's been a year, and ਮੈਂ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਸਵੇਰੇ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ she's calling everyone dogs। So, you know, if people do not understand that peace is always the better option, and if they don't understand that if they keep pushing, poking, taunting, right, there are people that will not back down. I'm one of those people. I will not back down। ਕੀ ਬਣਿਆ, ਕੀ ਧਰਿਆ ਅੱਜ ਮਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ? ਅੱਛਾ, you know what I'm gonna do until someone someone starts to comment? I'm going to try and figure out some features on this live so I know how to hide people or time out. Because I've only got one moderator. And she don't talk to me anymore, so... And the thing is, I don't even remember how I made the moderator. And I don't know how to... Right, I'm going to click on something and then see how it goes. It's going to go one or two ways. The live will either stop or the camera will reverse or something stupid will happen. Right. How do put him... Okay. Right, I've learnt one feature. And now which button shall I press? Honestly, if I'm left to it, I'm actually quite peaceful. And I try to be funny. I'm not always funny. Yeah, but if you're going to poke and prod and taunt, this isn't just for Banduki, right? This is for anyone. And if you exceed limits, and if you're in this groupism, and you're indulging in channel wars, you know, I don't even... Yeah, and if I see these channel wars and I see people... Look, I can go as far as saying that I actually don't hate anybody in life because we can't hate strangers. And it's not the person that we hate, it's what they do, right? That's what we hate. It's what they do, their actions. And I always say, character te na jao. If you're going to discuss something, discuss their characteristics. Because it's the characteristics, the personality that drives people to misbehave. Now, I detest lappu. Main reason, the beadbi, the widow shaming, but just I can see how manipulative he actually is. In that little stunt now, dushman ka dushman usko dost bana lo. ये ना ये साला ये औरतों के पीछे ही छुपता रहता है. You know, when have you ever heard him have a conversation with a man, man to man? Hardly ever. His body language gets awkward when he's around other men. He actually fumbles. But having said that, yes, I detest him. I also see through his wife, who isn't Bali Bali, but let's leave her out the equation for now. Now, his mother's really problematic, but you know what's even more problematic is when then people take the reactions too far. You know, किसी माँ के कैरेक्टर को इतना गंदा कर दिया. Don't go so far. I don't like his mother, but that doesn't mean कि उसका character ही उछाल दो. Yeah, and yet I detest her son. I actually detest her behaviour too. You know, the way she behaves with her children and the way she's quite erratic sometimes. I mean, she's in touch with lots of reaction channels. We know that, right? She plays that game. ठीक है, वो करती है, उसको चैनल चलाना है. Cooking करती है, जब अच्छी होती है, बातें अच्छी भी होती हैं, पर लेकिन when she takes a turn, she's absolutely vile. But that doesn't mean कि उसके character पर ही चले जाओ. She's a mother and she's a grandmother. Okay, so she has no control over her children. That's the main problem. वो कुछ भी आके करते हैं, कुछ भी बोलते हैं, and then she sides with them. I don't know ये माँ की मजबूरी है or if she's just playing the game. मुझे नहीं पता. लेकिन going back to lappu, ये ना अंदर से ये बहुत इनसिक्योर बंदा है. इसकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज से पता लगता है. ही इज़ वन ऑफ दोज व्हाट वी कॉल कीबोर्ड वॉरियर्स. ये स्क्रीन के पीछे ही ये सब कुछ कर सकता है. आमने सामने इसके अगर कोई इवन स्ट्रॉन्ग औरत भी खड़ी होती है ना, you see his behavior. ये एक्चुअली जैसे ना, he's like a meek चूहा. That's what he is. And maybe that's why he's surrounded by so many चूहे. इसके सभी घरों में चूहे होते हैं, तो इसको इसकी तो मैं बचाऊंगी। And until he issues a real heartfelt apology for his behaviour that day when he used that jet wash and then used our Jaguar. He's done a lot of widow shaming. Obviously, that's a weak point. There's just lots of things. And yet, for a very clever, he's very, very clever. He has just misused his brain. He thinks it's easy money. Where's the barakat? Where is the barakat? You know, you're like a nomad. You go from place to place to make allegiances with other YouTubers. लेकिन अब आपको कोई मुंह लगाएगा नहीं, because you know you've left a legacy of carnage behind you. And मैंने कभी भी इसके जो भी इसकी history हुई थी or whatever, I've never condemned it. I've neither condoned it. What I've said is I once heard him when he was in Malaysia. If you get out in the world, then, you know, it's a good opportunity to become worldly wise and groom yourself. And so he needs to do that. You know, if he's going out of the country to, I don't know, increase his knowledge, his skill sets in the field of education, then that's what you do. ये क्या लगा है कि तीसरे दिन बेड पर बैठ के यार लाइव लगा लेनी और गंदा गंदा बोलना सबको, है ना? Concentrating on upskilling yourself socially. Your social skills are diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. You know, get that grooming done for your wife. I don't know, sometimes, you know, I'm a regular viewer because I'm observing what you do. And what I observe is sometimes you humiliate your wife. You actually focus on her weak points because you know that gathers views, it gathers eyeballs, and therefore she gets trolled, and therefore you guys are constantly discussed on reaction channels. But you're actually humiliating your wife, who needs a lot of help in terms of her social skills. But again, I'll leave her aside. That's fine. Now, you call yourself an influencer. Yeah, you're not an influencer. You're an absolute embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to the education fraternity. You're an embarrassment to this YouTube creator club. And you're not a creator, you're a controversy creator. You don't create content. What is your content? It's all based on controversy. And yet, if you're intelligent and you have got the skills, then put them to better use. You know that you are constantly poking. You poke, and then when you get that react, and your mother does as well, and then when you're given a reaction, you're screaming like a spoiled 18-year-old. No, not 18, 12, 13 actually. Spoiled young teenager. Throwing bitch fits. Seriously. Call yourself educators. Oh. But yes, so, see, I completely went off topic. I don't even want to think about him. But going back to yesterday, and that clip, and I don't know when it was done because I didn't listen to those channels, those sponsored Gali Bars channels. But yes, heard it yesterday. There's nothing I can do short of getting hypnotised to wipe it out of my mind. But it could have been, and no doubt, whomever they targeted. I don't know whose child they targeted. I recognised one name, but I do not think it's the name of the lady that I know on YouTube. But whomever it was, I mean, that graphic? Really? How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? And again, I'll appeal to whomever's uploaded it. Please remove it. You know, I hope better sense has prevailed and the people involved don't do anything like that again. And I've got no doubt that the people involved will return and they will use a lot of abusive language. But if that's how they want to live their lives, that's up to them. But if they think people are going to sit back and take it, then they're very much mistaken. I, for one, I won't stay quiet. I just, it's absolutely despicable. And again, I hope everyone who was affected or involved and has now left, whatever their reasons. Some people left because they couldn't cope. Some people left because they fell out with their Gali partners. It's all just so fragmented. Why is everything black? Because it's dark. Alpha Edits, hello? Because it's dark and it's... I don't even know what time it is, actually. Let me just check my watch. It's 11 o'clock. That's why it's dark. And true to form, I've looked at a comment and I've lost my flow. Yeah, so they're fragmented and great. They've all split apart. They're all in their little groups, and these are subgroups of subgroups of subgroups. And just stop going at each other. Fine, you've fallen out. If there's no scope for reconciliation, just leave each other alone. If there is scope for reconciliation, great, do it. Just agree to disagree and leave each other alone. You know, it's not good for anyone. And I hear some of the people, and I think, God, they're very well spoken. You know, they put their points across really well. Something I can't do in Hindi, obviously, because it's not my mother tongue. But then their behaviours, and I'm like, wow, there's so much potential because you speak so clearly. And there's one or two of them, I honestly thought, yeah, actually they stood up for what was right. I'm not even going to mention the incident, but, you know, there were two of them who stood up at the right time when things had taken a turn for the worst. But then, you know what was really sad and ironic was they actually joined hands with the person they had actually stood up to. Oh, it just makes no sense. YouTube is just mind-blowing, yeah, mind-blowing. My mind is blown. So, yeah, so please don't target people's children. Please don't target people's parents. Yeah. किसी को नहीं बख्शा यार, किसी को नहीं. And मुझे ना, I think the biggest shock to my system was I saw people post, get well soon, Jettu bhai. But only a few weeks ago, उस बंदे की जान लेने पर तुली हुई थी ये औरत. मैं सोचती हूँ कि यार या तो इतनी बेशर्मी. I mean, if it was heartfelt, सच्ची मैंने कुछ नहीं बोलना था. But when you know that it's just lip service. If it was heartfelt, it would have felt heartfelt. But they're empty words. Empty words. You know. But apart from that, I've got nothing to say. I always say that, I've got nothing to say. And then I go on and I say a lot. You know, sometimes I think when I first came onto YouTube, obviously when the majority of us became very active on YouTube because of COVID, it was the worst thing I did. You know, we were all stuck indoors. What did we have? We had the TV, we had these phones, and everyone was cooking on YouTube, and I think all I searched was Punjabi village vlogs or something like that, and the rest is history. The rest is history. I don't know, there's 13 watching. So there's nothing controversial in this life. And I've got nothing really interesting to say, if the truth be asked. I'm just rambling and venting because I can't sleep. I'm disturbed about yesterday. I just, why can't people, there's 21 watching. Why can't people have the guts to oppose what is like really wrong? And there's nothing worse than child abuse. But, they tried to whitewash it. That really stuck in my throat. You can't whitewash, you can't justify, and you certainly can't reason with people who choose to come and explain why they did it. You're adults, you're not teenagers. But then I do think, actually, you are children stuck in adults' bodies. That's why you did it. That's why you I heard, the tone and the defiance, and then the continued threats. Wow. That takes some form of... That's a whole new level of intellect, that is. But, And in other news, what's happened this week has been horrific in terms of the plane crash in India for that UK-bound flight. There's been another accident today with a helicopter in Kedarnath. I think I've said that right. If I've not, please forgive me. And then there's been so much in the news, Israel's so-called preemptive attacks on Iran. And in fact, there were 6 locations that they attacked. And again, Iran has attacked Israel, and I just don't know. Trump's fallen out with Musk. Musk then did a half-hearted apology saying he'd gone too far. We've got Yaxley creating havoc here, as usual. And What else? But hey, Corbyn's managed to send Starmageddon and Lammy to The Hague, so that's good. That's really good. But overall, you know, as we say in Punjabi, dunya te pariya, and no one seems to understand that there is some really bad times ahead, and I'm not scaremongering. Because we've watched all the prophecies that they're all sort of unfolding in front of us, and still people aren't taking heed. We're still running with very charged egos. And if we just take that horrific, tragic plane crash, did that not teach us that life is that unpredictable? Within 30 seconds of takeoff. But no, we're going to continue as we are, because, like I said, we're led by our egos, you know, and लोग ज्ञान तो बहुत पेलते हैं, बहुत, but अमल कोई नहीं करता, me included. You know, I'm no saint. When I lose it big time. But I do try and focus on losing it for the right reasons. And मेरा तरीका भी गलत हो सकता है. Like I said, I'm no saint, and when I lose it. But I don't focus on little things and little people, which really means that I should just wipe Banduki out of my brain, because इससे छोटा तो मैंने दुनिया में देखा नहीं. There's another one coming a close second, but taunts have seemed to... Taunts भी मतलब आप नहीं करती, करवाती है. I've heard a few things, but again, I'm not going to give her my energy or my time. She's definitely not worth it. But the impact of social media is just... it is so negative on our youth, but also on adults, grown adults, professionals. I mean, what are we thinking? And has anyone got a magic wand that they can just wave and we just leave? We leave social media behind. I mean, you know, in my era, there was a TV and it had 4 channels, and we didn't have the choice. Now, gosh, everything is accessible at our fingertips. How many different social platform media houses, mainstream media, just feeding us a load of crock, peddling lies that our governments, you know, pay them to peddle. And they do. All mainstream medias in the West and in the East, they're all on the payroll. And that's why I don't ever listen to the BBC. And the sensationalism, oh my God. You turn on your news feed. I tell you all I've heard, right? And again, I've had to go not interested. Someone's ex-husband passed away in this country while playing polo, right? But he was her ex-husband, you know. She's very famous, bless her heart. And they're literally using her to... The first thing you hear is, so-and-so's ex-husband. No, he was an entity in himself. He was also now somebody else's husband. But they sensationalise it. And, you know, again, giving graphic details of how he passed away. Oh, another thing I have complete objection to, and India paparazzi. The way they hound people, families and friends of people that have passed away, cameras in their faces, and they film for hours people coming and going to pay their condolences or go to the funeral, or then the follow-on prayer meetings. Wow. I mean, just wow. Like, no boundaries. Boundaries are unheard of. Imagine how you'd feel. You've just lost your loved one, and it doesn't matter what stage of that journey, from when the person's passed away right up to the funeral, then, you know, the prayer meetings that happen afterwards. Imagine the pressure of cameras being everywhere. And again, these cameras, they don't spare children. They are cameras are in children's faces. They're coming out of school, they're coming out of events. And then YouTubers and celebs who expose their children to YT. And then those children get trolled. It blows my mind every time how you control a child. And again, I won't take names, but there is, I think no, I don't think I know. She's an ex-TV star, but she's become a big YouTuber, if that's what they want to call themselves, over the last few years. And her child's coming up to 2, and she's not been well. They trolled her when she wasn't well. They have trolled her beautiful little boy from when he was born. I've heard people say the most horrible, cruel things about that child and how he looks, and it's not hers, and oh, please, God, forgive them. Can you just lay off children? And just for the record, I think that child's beautiful. All children are beautiful. But YouTube, Insta, or whichever social platform people spit their vitriol, it's when they're nasty to children. And some people, I mean, there's another one. She's had 2 kids back to back. Her whole content is about her kids. And I've seen people in the comment section actually comparing one child with the other. And again, they're not kind with their children. But as parents, obviously it's their decision to keep their children in the limelight, but it's not healthy. It's not a healthy practice. But what can you do? So I think I've rambled on for about 40 minutes now, just talking a load of crap, apart from lappu and apart from the child abuse, because that's not done. And on a parting note, I will say again, no one can stop me from saying whatever I want to say about people who widow shame, who child abuse, and who, just like lappu, do be of my mazhab, and then, like a hypocrite, jump on a bandwagon based on someone's name and play the religious card. Nah, doesn't wash, won't wash, will never wash. So, as I say, stay out of my lane. I'll stay out of yours. But if you want to come into my lane, I don't need to join people's panels. I do not need to become part of any group. If I lose it by myself. And then I tackle people head on, one to one. And I don't care what people say about me. right? So every idiot who has tried to, send me messages or screenshots of so and so was saying this about you and so was saying that about you. Yeah, well, you know what? For me, the block features is the best feature because what I don't know won't hurt. Okay? So you can call me whatever you want. I really don't care. But what you can't do is shut me down. Well, not while I'm still breathing, anyway. If I want to talk about something or if I want to object to something, I will. If I want to praise something, I will. You can't. Jello. It's enough of my rubbish. And just to let you know, so when I close the live, it goes private. And for some reason, on this phone, it takes forever to upload. Not when I've done a live from my laptop, but from the phone. So anyone who thinks, oh, live IT, private karke. No. There are some lives that I have made private, but that's because I put some things to bed. Right? But if an, no, I won't say it. If she comes into my lane, I'll make them public again. But if someone does put something to bed, I think most sensible people would go, well, okay, we've been there, we've done that, we've had the fight, I've done this, she did this back, draw a line, move on. But no, it's not enough. Always come back for a poke. Always come back for a taunt. And there's another one. Although for a few days she's not taunted, but I can actually see what game she's playing as well. The Silent Assassin. Yeah. So anyway. Until next time. Until next time, I lose my shit and come to talk shit and ramble. I'll say goodbye.